With over 60 motor vehicles to every mile of classified road, Great Britain has the most congested roadways in the world. Small wonder that everyone has to pass a driving test before he's considered competent to drive. A great deal of nonsense is talked about the driving test, so let's emphasize right at the start that the test is perfectly fair and straightforward. There are no catches, no trick questions. Examiners do not fail a certain percentage regardless. The result does not depend on the mood of the examiner. These fallacies can usually be traced to applicants who've failed and refuse to admit the real reason for their failure. And the real reason in 9 cases out of 10 is that they weren't ready and went for the test too soon, before they were sufficiently competent. The object of the test is clearly set out in the Ministry leaflet DL68. However little you mean to drive, if you pass the test, you'll get a license allowing you to drive anywhere in Britain, town or country. And the examiner must be satisfied that, whatever the traffic conditions, you can handle your vehicle with safety and with consideration for all road users, in the spirit of the Highway Code. One of the first essentials of test success is first-class instruction. Here's a pupil having the first lesson in the quiet and safety of the classroom. But whether or not you go to a proper school for all lessons, try to have a few at least from a properly qualified man. Before we go on to show you a typical driving test, let's take a look at some of the normal maneuvers the examiner will expect you to do. First, the question of signals given by drivers. The Ministry leaflet lays down that you'll be required to give by hand and by mechanical means, if fitted to the vehicle, in a clear and unmistakable manner, appropriate signals at appropriate times. And that even if your car's fitted with mechanical signalling devices, you'll be expected to demonstrate that you're competent to give the recognized hand signals clearly and in good time. And it also stipulates that, except when the examiner specially asks you to use hand signals, you can use either trafficators or hand signals during the test whenever necessary. And so that you'll be well able to demonstrate good hand signals, cultivate the habit of giving them clearly and accurately. I am going to turn to my right is this: arm straight out, horizontal, palm facing forwards, and hold it still for at least 3 seconds. I am going to turn to my left, clear and unmistakable if it's given properly. But a lot of drivers find difficulty in giving it properly. This shows the idea. Imagine you're trying to chalk circles anti-clockwise on an imaginary wall, and you'll get this effect on the road. I am going to slow down or stop is this: palm facing down. I am ready to be overtaken with the palm facing forward. And finally, signals to a point duty policeman. I want to go straight on with the hand flat against the screen so it can be seen in spite of reflections. I want to turn to my left, close to the screen again. I want to turn to my right, the same for a policeman as it is for following traffic. But don't make the mistake of thinking that giving the signal entitles you to turn. No matter how much this van driver protests that he gave a proper signal, it wasn't early enough, and he didn't use the mirror. So signal well in advance, like this. The Ministry of Transport Chief Examiner has said that failure to make proper use of the mirror is responsible for a great many test failures. The reason's obvious, for if you slow down or swerve without regard for traffic behind, you risk causing danger or inconvenience to other road users. So watch the mirror and always make a point of knowing exactly what's going on behind. And in any case, remember that giving a signal and checking the mirror isn't the whole story of making a turn. Correct road positioning is equally important. Making a right turn, filter to the crown of the road, so as not to interfere with traffic wanting to turn left or go straight on. These examples show the importance of the proper signal and position, and it's even more important on fast roads like this. so filter well in advance. Wait at the center if necessary, and complete the turn like this. Don't take a short cut, like this. It's much the same with the left turn. Filter to the near side well in advance, and keep well in all the way round. And don't follow this path, swinging wide before turning. And don't swing out as you leave the turn. At these crossings, give way to pedestrians. Give the proper signal and stop. But change down and be ready to move off smartly as soon as all's clear. Many beginners find difficulty in restarting on a hill, usually because they haven't mastered the knack of holding the car stationary against the gradient by proper use of the clutch. Running back or a jerky getaway earns a black mark in the test. So practice until you can move off smoothly and easily, looking round and glancing in the mirror before you start. If you practice until you can get away like this without crushing the matchbox, you've nothing to fear. At some time during the test, you'll be asked to turn round in a fairly narrow road. As it says in the leaflet, you'll be expected to cause the vehicle to face in the opposite direction by use of forward and reverse gears. And the purpose is to see if you can control the vehicle in a limited space and use the clutch, accelerator and handbrake properly. So here's the procedure. Wait till all's clear. Don't attempt this sort of turn unless the road's deserted. And move off slowly, a final check in the mirror, and quickly get the steering round onto full lock. And keep on full lock until you stop a foot or so short of the curve. Use the handbrake to hold it there. And before you go back, check that it's safe behind and at both sides, and then slowly back, quickly reversing the steering. Stopping short of the curb again, using the handbrake. Check that it's safe, and steer the car forward to its final position. One of the secrets of making a smart, efficient turn in a limited space is to get the steering quickly onto full lock, before the car's moved a few inches. And we think it's best to cross the hands in this kind of tight maneuvering. If you prefer this method, use it by all means, but you'll have to work really hard to get the wheel over quickly enough. See how the rally driver holds the wheel. And in this kind of racing, called autocross, the hands have to work really hard. Although for normal main road driving, you'll probably find it best to hold the wheel like this. And we think it's best to leave the steering at full lock until you're right across the road. We know that many drivers prefer this way of reversing the lock towards the end of each movement. But you don't gain anything, and it's so easy to make the job harder if you misjudge it and apply the reverse lock too early. It's all too common for beginners to try this method and finish up still facing the way they started. And when you're turning in the road, don't bump against the curb like this, because for one thing, this is a test of car control. And for another, you may one day, for all the examiner knows, want to turn when pedestrians are using the pavement, or at a place like this where there's no curb to guide you. Normally, of course, the best way to turn round in the road is to reverse into a convenient side road and come out forwards. Pull up well past the opening and a couple of feet out from the curb. Reverse until the back of the car's almost reached the corner, and then quickly lock over the steering. Straighten up and continue slowly back. And when you come forward, don't forget to look right and left and right again before you come out. Get plenty of practice in reversing before you go for the test. If you want to overtake a slower vehicle, it's obviously vital to make sure that it's safe. So glance in the mirror, give a warning if necessary, overtake quickly and get back to your own side. But don't cut in too closely in front of the overtaken vehicle. It's a good tip to be able to see it in the mirror before pulling back to your own side. If you're thinking of overtaking another vehicle, especially a big one, don't follow too close behind. From this position you can't possibly see whether it's safe to draw at to overtake. So hang well back in this position until you can see that all's clear, and then ease the car gently out. During the test, the examiner will watch your reactions to anything like this. Otherwise, unless an emergency arises naturally during the test, you'll be tested in stopping the vehicle as in an emergency. The procedure will be explained to you by the examiner. Usually he shouts stop and bangs on the windscreen. In this case, there's no need to signal or to park neatly. Just pull up as quickly as you possibly can. But at all other times, park the car close to the curb. Bad parking causes danger, or at least inconvenience to others. Don't park on the approach to a pedestrian crossing. Or, of course, on the crossing itself. Or at a bus stop. And don't park by a continuous white line. Or near the brow of a hill or a humpback bridge. Or close to a junction. Or opposite another standing vehicle. This kind of thing's extremely dangerous on a faster road. Although the rule doesn't necessarily apply in city streets, in places where the police permit parking on both sides, such as here. And don't park near a bend, or on busy roads, like these, or on any road carrying fast-moving traffic. If there's a grass verge, use it. Even if it involves you in a walk, it'll avoid causing danger or inconvenience to others. If there is one, use a proper lay-by. If you have to park in a confined space, you'll find it easier to reverse into position. You can sometimes get a lot of help from reflections in a shop window. You can see in the glass how far you're away from the next car. But don't try to help another driver to park if you can see he's watching reflections. See how this well-meaning assistant's spoiling the driver's view of the reflection. But if there's no convenient shop window, get a friend to help like this, showing how far it's safe to go. If you find yourself parked like this, remember what we said before, quick with the steering and no time for reversing the lock. At crossroads or road intersections of any kind, the examiner will watch to see if you take proper care. He'll expect you to reduce speed as necessary and to look right and left and right again before you proceed. Look right and left and right again. If you approach all doubtful crossings with your foot at the ready over the brake pedal, you'll have a much better chance of stopping in time if the necessity arises. Now that we've seen something of what's required, let's take a look at a test in progress. When you arrive for the appointment, the inspection of the papers will probably take place indoors. And then out to the car with the examiner, and the test is on. The eyesight test, you're asked to read a car number plate at 25 yards. If you can't, then the test is off. So if you wear glasses, don't forget them not only for the test, but whenever you drive. When this is over, sit quietly in the car and listen carefully while the examiner explains how he'll conduct the test and what he expects you to do. Before you move off, check the mirror and make sure that it's safe. A pedestrian crossing, a good signal, and be ready to move off smartly. A right turn, mirror and signal, and move over towards the road centre. Slowing down, a good signal. A left turn, mirror and signal again. Another right turn, and another good signal. And the normal safe driving position, 3 or 4 feet out from the curb. Another left turn, another good signal. And the reversing test. Pull up past the opening. Lock over quickly. Straighten up. And continue slowly back. And when you come forward, remember to look right and left and right again before you come out. Another right turn, check the mirror and keep an eye on those parked lorries in case anyone steps out from behind. And right at a halt sign, mirror and signal, and of course come to a complete stop. But be ready to move off promptly. The emergency stop, no need to signal. And a hill start. The overtake signal's recognized in the highway code when you're pulling into the curb. Before you move off, check the mirror, and of course, don't run back. The turn in the road, use the handbrake. Check that it's safe behind, and remember to be quick with the steering. And look right and left and right again before you come forward. Back towards the city. A left turn. Remember to keep well in. This is perhaps running a bit wide. A right turn at traffic signals. A good signal and position near to the road centre. Wait till it's safe. And a good position allowing that cyclist plenty of room. You'll be failed if you don't realize the need for that kind of care. A pedestrian crossing, keep the signal going as a warning to following cars. Another good signal. And back at test headquarters, parking the car as directed by the examiner. A few questions on the highway code shouldn't be difficult, as you ought to know the highway code almost by heart. If you've kept your head and had sufficient experience, you may get the welcome pink slip indicating a pass. And you'll be able to drive on your own for the first time. But remember, you've still a lot to learn. So continue to exercise every possible care.